Hi, I'm Rob Cosman. Welcome to my shop. I'm frequently asked about sharpening the blade in a Lie-nielsen Skew block plane. And first of all, let me just explain to you quickly where I use it. When you're cutting dovetails and you're laying your tailboard over top of your pin board, if you cut that little rabbet beforehand, then when you line the two pieces up, that rabbet registers them perfectly. Makes it a heck of a lot easier and more accurate. So you remove the side plate, you expose the blade, and that allows you to cut right into a vertical surface. But people are often saying, how do you sharpen the blade? Well, it really isn't a big deal at all, even though the blade is skewed on the end instead of being square. Now, I'll walk you through both grinding and sharpening. So over here, first thing you're going to do is set your tool rest so that you're meeting the stone at the same angle that was on there. And before you turn it on, you can just spin it like that and it'll leave a mark on the back side, and that's right in the pretty much in the middle of the bevel. So the only thing you would do different, instead of holding the blade like this, keeping a squared off blade parallel to the face, you're going to hold it like this so that now that skewed edge is parallel to the face. And you simply move it forward and back until you create a new primary bevel. And you can see that that hollow ground is sitting pretty much in the middle of the original flat grind that was on the blade when it was new. Now I won't go through all of this, but just keep flipping it over and checking until there's no reason to cut all the way through the original bevel unless you had some damage or you need to change the skew angle. But I would take that a little bit further, and then at that point we come over here and this is where we do the honing. And again, nothing different except where you're going to hold the blade in relation to the stone. Set the blade down on the primary bevel. I hold it like this. I've got 3 fingers helping distribute the pressure. I always squeeze my right thumb between my left thumb and my left index finger, which ties my 2 hands together. Register on your primary bevel. The nice thing about these thick blades is it's a wide primary, so it's easy to find. Don't need to polish all of that, so I'm going to raise it up a few degrees. Little circles, tight little circles. That keeps you on the stone, and it minimizes the rocking motion that if you're covering all the stone like that, sometimes folks get into. Find your primary, come up. Do this for about 10 seconds, or until you can detect a slight burr on the back side of the blade. As soon as you do, you're done on that stone. Step over to here. Now I've already flattened it. This is my finishing stone, and I'm using a Sharpen 16,000. Set that blade down on the same primary bevel, but this time you're going to raise it up a little bit higher than you did over there. So this created a secondary bevel. This is going to create what we call a tertiary bevel, just a little bit higher. Reason? You only need to polish the very leading edge, so why do more than you need to? Come up a little bit higher. Again, those same little tight circles. You want to make sure that you're applying pressure uniformly across the edge of the blade. Now I'm moving slightly forward as I'm doing this because this stone wears with use, but it should only take about 10 seconds. And you want to be careful to apply pressure, like I said, uniformly across its width. You don't do any feathering of the edges like I do on a regular blade. Once you've done that, I'm going to flip it over, and this is the part that folks probably haven't quite figured out. When you're creating your Charlesworth back bevel, in this case polishing it, it's already been created. Instead of setting the blade like that, you set it so that the edge of the blade is parallel to the opposite side. Now I'm going to stay within 1/4 of an inch of that edge. It's elevated less than a degree with a little steel rule on the side, and I'll just move it forward and back, keeping within that 1/4 of an inch, and just remove the burr. That's all there's to it. It's really easy to do. If I had a piece of paper towel, I could wipe this off and put it back in the plane, but I don't. But that's what I wanted to show you, how to sharpen it. And it's the type of plane that doesn't get a ton of use, although I actually consider it to be one of my top 10 essential hand tools. It doesn't get a ton of use based on how much it actually does when you're using it. So you don't have to sharpen it very often. But the sharper it is, the more accurate it is because the less effort's required. And you're cutting, typically in this case, you're cutting across the grain. So the skew angle is going to give you your smoothest surface. And again, the sharper it is, the smoother it'll be. Hope that helps.